My name is Cornell Squires, and I'd like to let you know I'm preparing a statement to Congress about the injustice that's in the court system in this state and in this nation. Too many people around this nation are looking for justice, and many has received letters, Congress people, as well as Senator. I've been writing to President ever since the 90s about the injustice. And it's time that the Congress people, the ones that we elect to office, to step up to the plate and protect the American families, because American families are suffering because of the injustice in the courts, because they're unable to get justice. They're unable to afford attorneys. And many now, 75% of people are representing themselves in courts. And the judges are ignoring their complaints and they're turning deaf ear. There's going to have to be a change. If we're going to have reform in America, it's going to be a change, and it's going to be people elect that stand up for equality and justice going to have to speak out. Those that we elected who to represent us and speak for us, it's time. It's time that you take a step forward and hear the people's cry for justice. Too many people are losing family members and loved ones. And I tell you, only you that are elected by the people are supposed to represent the people. You're supposed to represent the Constitution of America, and you're not doing it. So if you're not ready to represent the Constitution, you need to step down. We need to elect people that's going to represent the Constitution and protect the rights of all citizens. There are too many people are crying out in America, and it's time that the lawless in America stop. And it's going to stop because of people getting involved. We're asking people around the nation to join Lawless America and demand a change, because a change is going to come when the people come together, stand up and speak out against the injustice. Senators, presidents, do your job. It's time for you to step up to the plate and be a man or be a woman and say this is wrong. We heard about Nancy Schaefer, what happened to her, speaking out, our senator. But we're not going to back off of this. We're going to keep going across America till people hear our cries and till your voice is heard, because the people is the most important thing. If you didn't have no people in America, there wouldn't be no America. We would need senators and presidents, but you're supposed to represent the people and the cause of the people, not the special interests or because of money buying people off. Too many judges from the U.S. Supreme Court to the appeals courts are covering up this injustice. And that's time for, if you're a real judge or senator or someone that represents the people, it's time for you to speak out. When these complaints come in, don't throw their complaints out. Here they can give them a chance to go before the juries. What's happening? The people that don't have attorneys cannot get before a jury of their peers. And we know that's what's happening. I done filed 6 lawsuits in these courts, in state and federal court. I've been through the U.S. Supreme Court, and I tell you, I haven't been to a jury since '95. It's a long time. And I'm demanding to get before a jury. The nation must hear our cries, because now you are on trial. The jury is going to judge you. The courts are on trial today. It's the courts that is the most major problem in America, because this is where we as civil people take our complaints to the courts, and the courts are throwing our cases out. They're not letting us go before a jury. But I tell you, it's going to come a day that you're going to wish. Each one of you, you know who you are. You know those that's taking bribes. It's going to come a day that your name's going to be out there, because they got the record. Your record is being recorded each and every day. And I tell you, one day, your name going to be up there, that a poor innocent citizen of the United States came before you and you closed eyes because you were bought off. You were paid off. You were bribed. But it's going to end one day.
How did you get involved in this in the first place? What made you? Did you have a personal experience?
Yeah, I have a personal experience. Actually, what got me involved? I used to work. I was a EMT for Detroit Fire Department, EMS, and I was a union steward, advocating for the people on the job, and we had a serious issue with EMS trucks being unsafe. As far as we had, the air conditioners were broken. And we were riding trucks that weren't safe on the road. So what I did, I started a list of got names of other technicians, and not only I got names of people were fed up with the problem with the EMS trucks. Then I turned around and filed a complaint to the state of Michigan, MIOSHA, who regulate our office. I complained about the trucks unsafe, and what happened, I wrote it, and I left my name on it. And when I left my name on it, that's when really hell broke loose for me. They covered up, the city of Detroit covered up. I actually was a whistleblower about the unsafe truck. So after that, I was under attack. This happened in 1993, and they put me under attack. And afterwards, they tried to fire me. They set me up to fire me, kept writing me up on charges. Have it that I got 7 letters of commendation from doing a good job, but they set me up to fire me. So what happened? I had to end up going out on stress, and went out on disability from the job. And after that, I went out on stress. I filed for unemployment. They denied me. I applied for workman's comp. I went to every agent, wrote letters to the mayor, to the fire commissioner, everyone. But I had to end up filing my own lawsuit in court because I couldn't find an attorney to take my case. So I drafted up a lawsuit. I filed it. I didn't know much about the law then in '93. So I filed a lawsuit. I'm sure it went to federal court, and the judge threw it out. I had the evidence, but they ignored it. Didn't have an attorney, couldn't afford one. So then I was upset, and I wrote a letter to the judge and explained to her that the city attorney told you a lie and it wasn't true what they told you. Matter of fact, I never had a chance since '95. I had never set foot in the federal court. That's why I filed my lawsuit. I can file 6 lawsuits now. I got a lawsuit pending now that they just denied in the appeals court, and I'm finna file the U.S. Supreme Court. But I've been fighting this over 6 lawsuits in the federal court. I got evidence to prove my case, and nothing happened. I can't get to the jury. And I know the major problem. I'm a paralegal. I went and took a paralegal class so I can learn more about the law. I'm a paralegal since 2000. So I learned about the law. I spent countless hours in the library, talked to many lawyers, and many of them won't take case because you don't have any money. So I started fighting them. But what I learned is that what it is, people that don't have an attorney, they're not going to let you get before the jury. They're going to block you and head you off. So being an advocate, speaking out against this injustice, they put you on the list as a troublemaker. They called Martin Luther King a troublemaker when he was speaking out against civil rights. And it's the same. Nothing has changed but the seasons in America. When you speak out, I don't care what race or where you're from, you speak out against the injustice, now you become a troublemaker. So now, after filing these lawsuits, I became an advocate for other people. And when I see someone in need, I try to do what I can, what I have learned over these years, how to help them to research in the library, take them to the library, help them to understand that they got to file a lawsuit or had to get someone or even try to find attorneys that represent them. This issue of judicial corruption is so widespread. They don't respect citizens. They don't respect our rights. And I know that my case is right, and so many other people's got good cases in court, but they can't get before a jury. So the jury's not hearing the people's cries or hearing the case and the evidence, so what happened to get thrown out. So I've been speaking out since '93 as an advocate. Even though I have not been get a chance to go to court and get a jury trial, I'm still never going to give up until I get a jury trial. And I'm going to make sure people that if you have a case and you know that you're right, you have a right to challenge the government when they violate your rights. You have a right to file a lawsuit. You got a right to have a hearing in the court. We pay tax dollars for these judges. They're elected, but we are the taxpayers. But what's happening? The good old boy network, as far as the Bar Association, they collected judges and attorneys that's working together against the people. And the only way that a change is going to ever come in America, it's going to take people like you, Bill Winston, and David Shai, who's always out here on the front line speaking out. These are the righteous people. These are the people I want to associate with because these are people who believe in America, believe in justice. We believe in the Constitution, and we're going to make the Constitution work. It's a price we pay for speaking out, but it's worth paying that price because you know what? Because what we're going to leave for our children and our grandchildren behind this, what's going to happen if we don't speak out? America has started off as a great country. It's a great nation, but it's dwindling down because of the injustice. No one's above the law. Even the United States versus Nixon, Nixon thought he couldn't go before a trial, and they said, even the U.S. Supreme Court said no one's above the law. It's time for us to speak out. I became an advocate because I know that so many people out here are being hurt, so many families. I've been in the Detroit area for a long time, and I have seen hundreds of men and women, and mostly women and children, are suffering because they got good cases. and they can't afford an attorney. And I was an advocate for them. I've been taking young ladies to court dealing with CPS. I deal with all kinds of cases. I started an organization, We the People for the People. It's a organization that when people come here, they don't have to have any money. They don't have to have no money. They just got to have a constitution willing to stand up and fight. And I'm supporting because I know I can feel their pain. I can feel what's in their heart. I know that they hurt, and I know that they want justice. Justice don't come automatic. We're going to have to demand justice. Power can see nothing while they need demand. But we got elected people that's sitting in these high chairs knowing this going on. I done wrote letters to the senator. I done wrote it to senators. I done wrote it to every president from Bush Sr., even to President Obama. I had wrote them letters about this problem, about the courts, about the federal agencies. I've been to the FBI, wrote complaints. They did nothing. I've been to the Department of Justice, took people down there since 2003. I talked to Judy Leedy, who was the Chief Justice down in Michigan. She did nothing. She ignored it. I tried to meet with Barbara McQuaid. No federal agent in Michigan that I've been to had never helped me. They never gave me a chance. They never looked at the report. And I find out this is consistent with the rest of the people going to the Department of Justice, trying to file a complaint. And know what the first thing they said? We don't have jurisdiction. Well, your rights are violated. We have judges involved in corruption, and they have no jurisdiction because they covering up for them. It's something serious wrong. How can a person be appointed in these positions to uphold? They take an oath to uphold the law, and then when you come to them, they ignore it. Federal judges, you got a lifetime appointment, but you should follow the law. I can't believe that these are people who got an education. They're supposed to be educated, and the Constitution is clear about your rights, and they just ignore it. Know why? Because you don't have an attorney. But the Constitution says you don't have to have an attorney. You have a Sixth Amendment right, a right to a jury of peers. And if the people that's been fighting, if everybody got a jury, regardless, go before a jury, this would change. Yes. And you know what happened? I spent countless hours in the law library. I was at the federal court researching records. I pulled cases of people, Moors, and every case that a person that called themselves a Moor case were dismissed. Every case in federal court. I got them at home. I pulled cases of all pro se litigants. I met one person here, and his name is Nathan. I can't think of his last name, but Nate. He's the only guy I know that been before the federal court in Michigan, in the Eastern District, and had a jury trial. He used to work for the city of Detroit. I couldn't believe it. He got a chance to get before a jury trial. Only one out of all these cases I looked. And I said, wow. So what's happening in our court system? You're not going to get before a jury. You can pay your fees. You come in formal part. They're not going. This is happening across America. You're not going to get before a jury. And this is why we can't win our case, because if a jury heard the facts, I guarantee 95% of pro se litigants are 100% right. And they will get before, and the jury will see that they're not lying. But because they are blocking before the jury, that's the biggest problem we have in America. Blocking people getting before a jury of their peers. And this is a crime within itself. This is what the court was designed for. Let the jury of peers hear your case. You don't need no attorney to go before a jury. It's a lot of people who present their case very well and tell you the facts, because it's the evidence, the facts that you present. And the jury can see clearly that you were right. But the reason they won't do it because there's a cover-up. There's criminal activities going on. And it's going to take honest people like you and I that really believe in the justice and the Constitution. I met David Shai, who was a great man, and I know David Shai is sincere. He's sincere. He's sincere about people's rights. He's sincere about getting a grand jury. But you know what happened? They'll turn around and lock David up, just sitting in the court. If they can lock, we are in trouble in America. When you sit in the court and you get locked up, We in a serious trouble in America. This is America. This is America.
God bless America.
God bless America. And I tell you, this is what we're talking about. You know, the average person, there are over 10 court TVs on show. You know, people here, I look at the court TV and, you don't see no attorney with them. They present their case and doing very well. And the judge is making a ruling. What's the problem? But in the real world, you can't do that.
A lot of the people who present, it's discrimination cases.
Yes.
And they get thrown out. They get dismissed. Not only is there a huge... I was on Reverend Pinckney's show the first or second week that I was on the road, and I said, Reverend Pinckney, I got to apologize to you and your listeners because I've been living in a dream world thinking that racial prejudice was significantly a thing of the past.
Yes.
And I have now heard in every stop
yes.
a case of just unquestioned, unbridled racial prejudice
yes.
that resulted in somebody getting their life significantly damaged, if not completely ruined. One man was a man who defended himself against a person that was trying to kill him.
Yes.
And he shot the man and killed him in self-defense.
Yes.
And they sent him to prison for 8
yes.
years, even though the jury found him innocent of murder.
Yes.
They had some other charge in there that they somehow convinced him to convict him on. It's just...
It's un-American what's happening. Like you're saying, the average person, thinking we have a judicial system that's fair and equality, it's not here. And if we don't wake up in America, we are headed to a terrible end in America because the citizens, the people that we are supposed to protect, the ones that we elected, are supposed to hear our cries. We should be able to, the Senate should hear the cries. These 50 states in America, people are crying out the same thing. There are war stories and all over America. This film is going to show the true America, what's really happening. And this is what people need to see. We got to defend the Constitution. We got to uphold it. We got to make sure that every person in America's rights is protected. Because if we don't, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to our children and our children's children? What's going to happen in America? We headed for a terrible end in America if we don't stand up and somebody don't have some integrity and say this is wrong. The senators can write bills right now to change that. They can make sure that you and I that want a child jury, everyone get a jury trial. It's not hard for them to do that. They could write a bill right now and say anybody have a case, they can go before a jury and it could be heard.
The Constitution kind of says that.
That's it. Yes.
The Bill of Rights.
The Bill of Rights.
Before a jury
appears, and it's not happening.
And then they invent the summary judgment and the motions.
Summary judgment. They're throwing our case out.
We're presenting legislation that says anyone who requests proposed legislation, anyone who requests a jury trial gets it.
That's right.
Simple deal. We're also saying the number one recommendation, because it's the easiest one they ought to be able to pass, is every court proceeding is recorded, and
yes.
every party has a right to record their own proceedings.
That's right.
Then we could prove them falsifying transcripts and doctoring tapes, and you make them be a little more civil, at least, if not a little
exactly.
more honest.
I agree, because just in 2010, I wrote a letter to the Supreme Court, 3 letters to the Michigan Supreme Court, and I demand that they record every session, especially with pro se litigants, make sure I had recorded and hearing tape, because we know court reporters are altering the tape and the transcript. So they need a tape in every court in America that is recorded, what is being presented. And then that will shed some light on the injustice in the court. I got a letter, wrote to them, 3 letters. They say, you must file the judicial tenant. And we know that the judicial tenant organization do nothing about when you write a complaint on a judge. If we don't have a recording of every person hearing, then this is how they're getting away with it. Because when you go there as a pro se litigant, most time they're going to alter the tape, or the court reporter is going to transcribe the wrong words. And I wrote a letter because I've been waiting for a transcript since 2010 in the Wayne County Judicial Court over Judge Kathleen McDonald. I've seen corruption in her court like never before. I got people right now, almost 10 people that file cases, and they have not been able to get the transcript, or their case was dismissed. What I hate so bad, a lot of these judges, they do have a law that they have to have 5 years at least of law experience. We got judges on the bench right now never practiced law. Judge Kathleen McDonald came right out of law school, became a judge. Matter of fact, Virgil Smith never practiced law. He went right to the state as a legislator. He got elected. He never practiced law. And when you go before these judges, they don't understand law. They incompetent. They don't know the law. And it behooves me how they can be elected to a judge, never practice law. They don't understand the law. They're incompetent. They don't belong on the bench.
I'd rather have people who aren't judges as our judges, who aren't lawyers as our judges.
Exactly. I think
let's let them, because they pay attention to the facts.
Yes.
Get somebody to look up the law for them and tell them what the law is.
I wish we could. I know we got to close, but I'd rather see paralegals, people like general public.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm a paralegal since 2000. I'd rather be people to hear my case that's a paralegal than a judge, because they will be more honest and forward, because they don't have to take no bribes. They're not going to worry about taking a bribe or getting a kickback.
Well, Cornell, I'd like to nominate you for judge.
I would love to be judge.
Chief Justice of the United States Supreme
I would love to. I would love to be the judge.
It would be fair.
It would be fair. Everyone will get a fair trial.
This is David Scheid, host of Power Corrupts Again. So I ask you, what do we do when we find out that the chief judge for all of Wayne County, another lawyer and member of the State Bar of Michigan, which is nothing more than a private corporation, is an imposter and has not had his oath of office on file for the past 7 years as required by Michigan law? Take a look. Here is a certified document signed by Secretary of State Ruth Johnson, showing that on August 9th, 2012, I personally received from that office a notification that they had done a complete check of the record from the year 2005 to 2012 and found that the office of the Great Seal had no oath of office filed for Virgil Smith as the Circuit Court Judge of Wayne County. So in answer to the question of what do the people do when we find out that the Wayne County Circuit Court Chief Judge hasn't had an oath of office on record with the Secretary of State as required under the law for the past 7 years? Well, fed-up citizens already filed a formal complaint with the Michigan Attorney General and Bill Schuette. This complaint named the Michigan statutes authorizing him to file a proceeding in the Michigan Court of Appeals to have this imposter judge removed from the bench. The cover letter stated that he must act within 30 days, yet the Attorney General has refused to act at all. This petition and notice, signed by 8 individuals living in the Wayne County area that are all concerned that their Wayne County Circuit Court Chief Justice has no oath of office on record at the Secretary of State's office of the Great Seal for the past 7 years. This is an important thing because it means that everybody who's gone before this judge has had a ruling that is unlawful. This judge has no right to be in the office, no further right than you or me. What more is that this affidavit points out that there's been a lot of problems in Wayne County for the past couple of decades, and that nobody's really doing enough about it. Kwame Kilpatrick, the former mayor, has been sent to prison. Wayne County Sheriff and Wayne County Executive Ficano have found themselves in hot water. Robert Ficano, the Wayne County Executive, has been under investigation by the FBI for the past couple of years, along with his assistant, Azam Elder, whose wife happens to be a Wayne County Circuit Court judge. There's been all kinds of problems going on, and the affidavit points out that Michigan statutes hold that the office of the circuit judge shall become vacant upon the finding that there is no oath of office on file. Importantly, this affidavit provided the Attorney General with clear notice that there is a demand for a criminal grand jury investigation of what's going on in Wayne County. By this affidavit and petition and notice, being signed by numerous interested parties, and with full knowledge that every citizen had not only a right, but a duty to protect all the rights of the people, we hereby issue the demand for the Michigan Attorney General, Bill Schuette, to conduct an independent criminal investigation of the 3rd Judicial Circuit Court in Detroit, Michigan, of numerous criminal allegations of the undersigned and others about corruption and racketeering being perpetrated by the officers of the Wayne County Circuit Court. The demand is for an investigation that includes, but is not limited to, all judges, magistrates, referees, friend of the court, social workers, courtroom clerks, the affiliated office of the Wayne County Court Clerk, and the office of the Court Administrator, the State Bar of Michigan Attorneys, and the office of the Chief Judge. We also demand that the Michigan Attorney General work immediately with the FBI and the U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuaid in conducting an extensive special grand jury investigation under 18 U.S.C. Section 3332 of all court cases involving out-of-state causes of action and allegations of constitutional violations by Wayne County Circuit Court judges. Equally important is the fact that the Attorney General, Bill Schuette, was served the affidavit of formal complaint via certified mail and with confirmation of receipt of the complaint signed by 8 concerned Wayne County citizens. Meanwhile, since the impostor was not actually a judge but an attorney disguised as a judge, a complaint was also filed with the Attorney Grievance Commission and not the Judicial Tenure Commission. Here's a copy of the Attorney Grievance Commission's complaint with a request for an investigation of Virgil Smith, who is an attorney impersonating a judge of the Wayne County Circuit Court. Notice that the complaint makes the claim that there is fraud upon the court being perpetrated by this so-called judge. Well, in classic fashion of how attorneys operate across the United States, including Michigan, the Attorney Grievance Commission failed to acknowledge the basis of the complaint about this attorney, Virgil Smith, impersonating a judge. Instead, Ruth Ann Stevens, on behalf of the Attorney Grievance Commission, notified the complainants that she had arbitrarily forwarded the complaint to the Judicial Tenure Commission using color of law, and while knowing that the Judicial Tenure Commission would see that this is not a judge, this is an attorney. Here is a copy of the letter written by Ruth Ann Stevens of the Attorney Grievance Commission to Paul Fisher, the Executive Director and General Counsel for the Judicial Tenure Commission. The letter reads that on September 4th, this person had received our correspondence from David Scheid, Cornell Squires, and James Cole. It claims that since the Judicial Tenure Commission has authority to investigate charges of misconduct concerning judges, not mentioning that this was an attorney, not a judge, that the complaint was being made about, this person was forwarding the matter to the Judicial Tenure Commission. Meanwhile, The Judicial Tenure Commission wrote a determination letter to Wayne County complainant Cornell Squires, informing him that they somehow had concluded an investigation into the illicit actions of the judicial imposter Virgil Smith in the Wayne County Circuit Court, and nevertheless closed the file on the case. Effectively, both the Attorney Grievance Commission and the Judicial Tenure Commission see no problem with their fellow bar member carrying out fraud against the court and the Michigan public. The Attorney General never answered the affidavit of complaint. In follow-up, another Michigan citizen wrote to Bill Schuette expressing his concern about Virgil Smith impersonating a judge. Schuette did respond back to Martin Prenn, but through misrepresentation and rhetoric, by indicating that he otherwise knew nothing about the complaint and leaving it at that. So while the Attorney Grievance Commission is misrepresenting the nature of the complaint to the Judicial Tenure Commission to make a record of this fraud, the Attorney General is doing something very similar. The Attorney General wrote a letter to Martin Prenn on October 12, 2012. In this letter, Attorney General Bill Schuette acknowledges that Martin Prenn had requested that the Criminal Division reply to his email. While the letter does acknowledge the nature of the complaint, being that the Wayne County Circuit Court judge did not have a properly recorded oath of office in the record, paragraph 2 of this letter only provides rhetoric, while paragraph 3 of this letter misdirects the nature of this complaint, and while ignoring the fact that the statutes and the petition provide directives to this Attorney General that it's him, not the state court administrator, who is supposed to be filing the case in the Michigan Court of Appeals to remove this attorney, this perpetrator that's committing crimes against the people of Wayne County, from the vacant office of the Chief Judge of the Wayne County Circuit Court. Now, it's significant to note that Michigan statutes hold that upon notice that a judicial office is vacant, it is the duty of the state governor to fill that position. So the concerned citizens of Wayne County once again served a similar affidavit and notice upon Governor Rick Snyder, stating that there was an imposter as the chief judge for the Wayne County Circuit Court. The copy of the letter, as shown here, cites Michigan Compiled Law 201.2 and 201.5, placing the governor on notice that he has 14 days to fill the vacant position of the chief judge of the Wayne County Circuit Court. Like the letter and affidavit to the Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette, the letter and affidavit sent to the Michigan governor was sent via certified mail with a confirmed receipt for the delivery. Similarly, as the Michigan Attorney General failed altogether to respond to the notice of unlawful conduct and judicial office vacancy caused by Attorney Virgil Smith's failure to follow the law in filing an oath of office for the previous 7 years, the Michigan Governor Rick Snyder also disregarded the clear notice that felony crimes were being committed by the highest judicial office in the most populated county of the state. By their gross disregard of Michigan laws calling forth their duty to the people of Michigan to remove the imposter judge from the Wayne County Circuit Court bench, both Governor Rick Snyder and Attorney General Bill Schuette have committed criminal malfeasance of their own offices, as well as the federal crime of misprision of felony.